Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the YouTube channel, and today we're reviewing Obsession, the latest horror thriller movie which just released last week. And I've found it hard to find some horror thriller movies this year which I've actually genuinely enjoyed. I feel like it's been a pretty bad rap so far for horror thrillers in 2026. Just a couple weeks ago I watched Hokum, which got some really good critical and fan praise, but ultimately I was let down by that pretty severely. So I had my fingers crossed, but I wasn't holding my breath going into Obsession, as obviously it had some of that same buzz. But I am very pleased to report that Obsession does deliver and is a genuinely good horror thriller film this year. So we have a winner. Let's talk about it. So Obsession centers around a young guy called Bear who is in love with his friend Nikki, although he hasn't let her know that yet. He's a bit of a shy guy, pretty reserved, so he's very reluctant to actually let her know. However, he will go to some strange lengths to get her to like him, including using a one-wish willow in which he wishes that Nikki becomes obsessed with him so that they can start a relationship. Little does Bear know that things will take a turn for the worst in a sinister way as Nikki becomes strangely obsessed with him in all the wrong ways. So as I said, it's been a pretty mediocre year so far for horror thrillers, so how does Obsession fare? This film definitely has some massive positives going for it. The first of which is it is actually genuinely creepy. And Nikki, in the way that she goes about obsessing over Bear, just gets creepier and creepier over time. And there's actually some really creepy parts where you're just wondering how far are they going to take this, and they take it there and you go, wow. I mean, at this point it would be really hard to get into it even if you like this girl. The movie definitely goes about taking Nikki to some dark places in which, as an audience member, you're just thinking, how the hell is Bear going to get out of this situation? Because some of the situations are pretty terrifying, so I have to give the movie a massive thumbs up for that. Not only in the awkwardness of the situations, but actually making them pretty terrifying as well. The other thing which I really like that the movie does is there's actually a couple moments where Nikki breaks away from the spell within the movie and she's kind of like, what the hell is going on? Those moments are really, really freaky and actually really scary. If you're in that situation, how you'd react as well. It just adds to the eeriness and that of what's going on. No spoilers, but yeah, there are a couple of things which happen in there, but yeah, definitely one of the things which just adds to the creepy atmosphere of the movie and what's going on. Ultimately though, I think the movie really wins where it brings up the tension, because there's obviously a lot of tension here when Bear becomes not okay with what's going on and realizes the lifelong impact that this spell on Nikki can have. And there's a severe lot of tension in how's Bear going to get out of this situation, because ultimately Nikki's obsessed with him while he's alive. Meanwhile, Nikki absolutely hates what's going on and Bear hates what's going on at the same time. So it's definitely not all it was cracked up to be. So there's this real tension as to how does Bear get out of the situation while both him and Nikki are alive, because ultimately, plainly, common sense would say that one of these can't be in the picture if one is to resume their normal life. So there's this real tension going about Bear trying to figure out what's the best way to actually deal with this situation that he's created. One of the best things about Nikki as well, and the way that Nikki's written, is they give Nikki these dialogue scenes where Nikki's dialogue fluctuates drastically. It goes up and it goes down, and it creates some really unsettling moments because you just don't know when Nikki's going to snap. And that's one of the best parts about the way that her character's designed. It's, while she is under this spell, you know, because Nikki actually doesn't want to be in this position, there's a lot of emotion and emotionally charged sequences with Nikki under the spell where she's yelling, she's quiet, she's not sure what's going on, and it creates for really eerie atmospheres and really on the edge of your seat stuff. You just don't know how this girl's going to behave when she's under this spell, and it creates for some really creepy moments, as I've said a few times now. But it's just one of the best parts about the way Nikki's written is the fluctuations in voice, the fluctuations in body activity, the fluctuations in body language, what she does at any given time. It's really edgy of your seat stuff, so I got to give it some props for that. That's probably the thriller aspect of the movie. Overall, I don't really have anything negative to say about Obsession. It doesn't really knock your socks off in any way, but it's definitely a great thrill ride with some really good on-your-edge sequences, with good acting performances, good character writing, and good tension built into the movie, which ultimately, for a 2026 horror thriller, that's all I'm asking for. So I'm going to give Obsession a solid 7.5 out of 10. in. I don't think that you're going to have a bad time with it. It's definitely a good popcorn flick for what it's trying to do. And I reckon that, yeah, you'll have a good time if you go watch it. Thank you guys so much for watching the review. Hope you enjoyed. Look forward to be backing with more reviews very shortly. Mando and Grogu comes out this week, so I can't wait to get a review up for that. Very excited for that movie. So look out for that one, and I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.